T-Wolves 1-0 under interim head coach Ryan Saunders. Game 2 brought the Mavericks to Minnesota. Karl Anthony Towns feeling good. Wes Matthews looking for a turnaround jumper. Oh, no, that's not happening. Cat swats it away. He had 4 blocks on the night. Second quarter, J.J. Barea, the lob to Dwight Powell. Hammers that.
Nobody getting up there on this play.
Whew. He's up there. Luka Doncic. Little preview. Things to come. He's doing it to everybody else. Dallas up by 14. Remember, this is the worst road team in the league. Bad news for the Mavs here. J.J. Barea makes the layup, but Jeff Teague steps on the back of Barea's right foot as he comes down. And Barea goes down in pain. He would leave the game and not return. Mavericks say he'll undergo an MRI on Saturday. Wolves back into it. Andrew Wiggins coming off that 40-point night. Bowls over Harrison Barnes, makes the floater. Derrick Rose back in the lineup. That'll go.
I still would have liked to have seen him shoot the open 3 first.
Jeff Teague to Towns, spins, hook, lead. He had 30 and 11, Minnesota up by 1. But the Mavs have a young phenom in Doncic. Look at the poise, look at the shot-making ability. Fakes out Derrick Rose and finishes at the rim with a couple of bigs converging.
The change of pace is amazing.
Unbelievable. Had him on his hip and then just dropped him off, went to the rim and finished it.
Jeff Teague misses the floater. Taj Gibson, Taj on the spot for the tip. Wolves up by 1. Mavs inbounding, down 1. Doncic intercepts it. They get it back. And here comes Doncic with plenty of time and nobody close enough to stop him. Amazing. He had 29.
Big enough to shoot over a pretty solid contest there as well.
Crazy play.
Just how calm he is, though, going up the floor, knowing that he's going to get exactly what he wants, Griff. Pulls up, takes that shot, and drains it.
But the door is still ajar because the Wolves down 2 with some time to work with. Work it around. Watch Rose, passes on the 3, little indecision.
Shoot the first one, Derek.
Maxi Kleber got a hand on it. They come up with it, and Harrison Barnes puts it away at the free throw line. Dallas hangs on for the win, 119-115, just their 4th road win of the young season. Doncic with 7 of their final 9 points. First road win against the West against November 28th. That was a long time ago, and they have their rookie Doncic to thank for it.
How's JJ doing?
He's got a lower leg injury. He's going to get an MRI tomorrow, and then we'll know more.
Did you see anything during one of those timeout huddles as Minnesota was pulling closer to kind of get the ship righted a little bit?
Stick together, play our game, stay the course. I mean, that's what you got to do when things get tough. So, you know, everybody hung in very well, and you know, not an easy place. We got some great players over there. You know, collectively, it was a terrific effort.
It's just great being out there, playing basketball, like every 2 days, every 3 days. So I'm just having fun, you know. It's the part of my basketball, just having fun on the court.
Well, he should be having fun. He's obviously the leading candidate at this point for Rookie of the Year. Voters have him as an all-star at this point in his young career as well, at the age of 19.
We can abandon that race, can't we? I mean, he's built up such a lead in the Rookie of the Year conversation. We do have to start talking about him as an all-star, though. I can't tell you how fun it is to watch a guy who's this comfortable in his skin so quickly into his NBA career, Griff. A lot of times, young, teenagers in the States that enter the league, there's still this uncertainty about whether or not they belong physically or if their game is mature enough. Luka's game is so smooth already, and he's physically such a big guy, you forget that he's all of that 6'8" and 220-plus pounds. This is a guy who's going to get better and better physically, but to me, the maturity of his game is already there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and those highlights we just saw speak to the advantage he has from a size perspective. Again, Minnesota was getting some decent contest on some of the shots he made. He's 6'8", and he's shooting over the top of it. We see some of his plays here, big enough to throw a cross-court pass to the corner, the vision to see it. And like James Harden, like Nikola Jokic, he plays at his own pace. He's going to go where he wants to go. He's going to pull up at the rate he wants to pull up. He's going to change speeds on you from slow to a little slower, and there's nothing you can do about it. And on that finish there, again, you're talking about a guy who's legitimately 6'8", and he has the handle of a point guard, albeit at a pace that point guards don't play at. And because of that, he's very unorthodox for players here to try to guard. They haven't quite figured out his timing. So very much, again, like James Harden, you will see him have guys off balance simply because his pace and rhythm are a little slower than everyone else plays at, and there's nothing you can do to rush him.
But you saw when he needs to, you saw it in the highlight, he can get to the rim, he can finish at the rim, and there's just no substitute for having the ball in your hands in high-level competition, in pressure situations, which he's had for years as a pro in the second-best league in the world.
And he's not wasting his dribbles is the thing I love about the way he handles the ball. It's all with a purpose. You know, he handles with his left hand just fine, so he can go either direction. And he's not out there going between his legs and crossing people over for, for highlights. He's doing it in a functional way that allows him to get an advantage. Once he gets that step on you, whether it's a step to the basket or a step back, he can finish the deal.
You mentioned James Harden. He and the Rockets have it together, taking on the Cavaliers on Friday night. Cavs and Rockets, mostly Rockets, really.
Mostly Rockets.
We're being honest about it.
Well, mostly Rockets doing bad things to Cavs.
James Harden to Daniel House on Tristan Thompson, and one. Whew. Here comes the beard. Step back, yep.
Again,
Check
just
that
like
out.
we just talked about with Luka, it's a step-back three, and he's just big enough to shoot over the top of the contest.
With that one, he passed Kobe Bryant for 14th on the all-time made threes list. More of that coming. Harden.
And a drop off. I think the one thing about Harden's game, too, that's really deceptive, Grip, people don't realize how big a man James Harden is.
Yeah.
He's not 6'8", but he's 6'6", and all of that 230 pounds with a great frame and a sweet handle. So he gets wherever he wants to go, whether you're a bigger or smaller opponent, he can take advantage of it.
He's still climbing the three-point charts in this highlight, in fact. He just passed Chauncey Billups as well as Kobe Bryant, so put him at 13th on the all-time list, and he's not done.
And in both of those last two threes he hit, Jetty Osman's who he puts on roller skates, and Jetty stays right there.
Yeah.
6'7" defender with a hand up, and James doesn't even notice him.
Well, and you're so afraid to reach as well because you know what happens. We'll get into that a little bit more here in a moment. Harden just abusing the Cavaliers, who have now lost 12 in a row. Houston has won 13 of 16 as Harden goes for 43, 10 boards, 12 assists. He is the first player with a 40-point triple-double since James Harden, in fact.
Sort of a category he's making his own.
More of the same for Harden.
Just, the step-back threes, he's perfected that. He's got 16 threes and they're step-backs. And I don't know how he does it. I mean, he's in a space about that big. Everybody knows what he's doing, and he still gets them off. And they're kind of open. They're not like they're forced. So just an incredible player.
Did you tell me until the end of the third quarter to get the triple-double?
I did not say that, but I said you got to the end of the third quarter to do whatever you're going to do. You're not playing any more than that. So I did not. And I thought, what a great thing was if you saw at his 10th rebound, P.J. blocked off the guy, and James got it. P.J. could have gone after it.
He knocked out the way.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good teammate.
Oh, they know. Everybody knows. So that's 15 straight games now with at least 30 points for James Harden, the second longest streak since the NBA-ABA merger. Kobe Bryant has a 16-point streak on his record. Harden and Houston will play at Memphis on Sunday. We have this MVP conversation. We're talking about the current MVP, but a lot of it to me is always about the player's responsibility with his team. And there is nobody with more on his shoulders in terms of winning or losing than that guy.
Outside of LeBron James, I don't think there's any single player with more. And I think the unbelievable part of what James Harden does is he gets so much credit, and rightfully so, for being an offensive machine and, being able to score at will. It's the opportunities he creates for other guys. And you don't see him on the highlights, Griff, but when you have that much attention and focus on one guy, there's bound to be somebody else open and with an opportunity to finish a play. You see Clint Capella doing it all the time, but also P.J. Tucker, corner threes, Eric Gordon when he's out there. Doing it without Chris Paul, of course, makes it even more jaw-dropping to see James Harden go out there when you know the focus is on you, but you really can't guard him with one defender. And I see teams do this all the time, and I'm thinking, surely you would give up something to try and slow him down, and they don't. They assume that this one guy is going to be able to handle him, and that's not happening.
No, hasn't been happening.
And the point you made in terms of his ability to find other people, because he's so good at getting rid of the ball, if you trap him and you try to force the ball out of his hands, he's going to make the right pass and the right read. And they're actually benefiting from the fact that Chris Paul isn't playing right now, and he can be so incredibly efficient during this period of time. And we can see that here in the video as well. James is getting the opportunity in the absence of Chris Paul to be the most ball dominant he's ever been. And he's truly efficient at this level of ball dominance. Most players aren't. He can mix it up. He shoots the three. He can take it to the basket when you play too much up on him. Again, that cross-court pass, we talked about it relative to Luka Doncic's size to make that cross-court pass. James makes that off the dribble with either hand. And here again, his size and length, this is actually a pretty well contested three by most people's standards, but you saw how riveted Mike D'Antoni was by the space that James Harden creates for himself. It's become a ho-hum thing. He is so good at that particular shot that what he's done is he's also made it very complicated to officiate him.
Absolutely.
Because he's really, really adept at getting to the foul line. So now defenders don't want to put a hand in.
Yeah.
And officials are trying to identify whether or not it's a two-step rhythm, like Monty McCutcheon will tell you they're looking for, or was it a travel?
Right.
He's completely changed the paradigm in the NBA. We see it here. The one on the left is called a travel. The one on the right is not. Can we run that back again? The one on the left is a travel, and the one on the right is not. And what's fascinating between those, here it is again. Watch it, and if we could do it slower even, it'd be great. So this is called a two-step rhythm. And what James Harden does that makes his play legal, according to Monty McCutcheon, who runs the officials for the NBA, is it is a two-step rhythm. And as James is picking the ball up off the dribble, he still has a live dribble. He's making his step back. Steph terminated his dribble before he made the first step back. So his was a travel and James is not.
It's essentially the gather step that we always hear.
It is, but it's the execution of this that James has perfected, and Mike D'Antoni talked about it. If you're still in the act of your dribble when you step back, that is not a gather step. It's all part of a two-step rhythm that the officials are now taught to look for. If you are gathering it, you cup it, and then you take your first step back, that will be the first of a two-step rhythm. So James got two steps because, in theory, he was still dribbling on one of those steps.
I got a proposal from Monty McCutcheon and everybody else. Let's have a step-back three-point shooting contest in Charlotte during All-Star Weekend.
I like that.
I'm going with James Harden.
Yeah, why would we have a contest we know the winner of?
Well, I mean, Luka might have something.
You could have a Doncic Harden shoot-off.
Exactly.
That'd be pretty good.
I'd take both those guys in that contest.
By the way, Harden's 40-point triple-double was through three quarters. He's the first to do that since James Harden at the end of 2016.
Mike D'Antoni also riveted by that as well.
Just throw his name into a lot of those triple-double stats. Coming up 2 nights after a 2-overtime classic, the Thunder and Spurs do it again right here. We'll talk about it.
Triple-double again.